This will be our fourth and final time exploring this topic from the Unarguables to the Immeasurables, or more specifically, from being controlled by the Unarguables, being controlled by the 3 Ps and the 4 Cs, the realities that life can change dramatically, that stuff happens, that we're inclined to take it personally, and that there are several conditions that influence who we are and how we show up that are beyond our control, the unarguables, the realities of life. At the other end of perhaps the spectrum are the immeasurables, the qualities of an open heart, the qualities that give us the ability to live a life from not only a place of being open-hearted, but a place of leading with kindness and caring. And the path between the unarguables and the immeasurables is tracking the 5 characteristics of our enoughness, of our inherent enoughness. And we have worked with each of the, with 4 of the 5 over the last few sessions: awareness, avoiding that which is harmful, approaching that which is beneficial, self-regulation over the last 3 or 4 sessions. And today we will focus on the 5th characteristic of our inherent enoughness, learning. And by learning, we're referring to 3 characteristics, 3 aspects of how we can show up. The first is focusing on understanding, simply understanding how things are in this moment, how life really is. And the second, once we have that understanding, is being open to possibilities, which includes both curiosity and an open heart. And the third then is to bring focus. Once we have understanding and we've considered possibilities, then our learning can begin to focus in on what our intention is, how we want to show up, how we want to make a difference in life. And with intention, from intention, we then can turn to where we want to place our attention and repeat it, and from time to time seek guidance. So this business of learning is so much about opening up to possibilities, about getting past being judgmental and self-critical and constricted. That's what the unarguables do to us. When we default to them, when we let them be in control, we tend to end up in a small, constricted space being judgmental. I'd like to work with understanding this morning in mostly in a guided practice. So that's where we will go now. So settling in to the surface we're sitting on, feeling the support of that surface, which allows us to relax, find a little ease. And as we do, we can gather our attention into this place in this moment. And as you have settled in, taking a moment now to recall a situation in your life that has been difficult. Maybe it's something that keeps coming up for you. Maybe it's something that just happened recently. Something that you find disconcerting, upsetting, not tragic, but difficult. And recalling the specifics of this situation. What the core issue is, who else might be involved, what specific events have happened. Putting yourself right in the thick of this difficult situation. And we can gain a little understanding of what's going on with this situation by considering how ongoing change in our lives and the world has contributed to this difficult situation. Impermanence. What's the role of impermanence in making this situation difficult? What's the role of how stuff just happens in life, beyond our control? And noticing any ways that we are taking this situation personally. Even if it's having a big impact on us, it doesn't mean we have to take it personally. It doesn't mean that we have to think of ourselves as victims, as being selected out. We're just gaining a little understanding here of what's happening with some perspective, without judgment or resistance. And now shifting our attention from some of the external forces that contributed to this difficult situation and turning our attention internally and noticing what our reactions have been to this difficult situation. Has there been any inclination to deny or resist the reality of this situation? Any inclination to wish things other than they are? As we observe some of these external forces that have been at play, and we observe our internal reactions, are we finding enough space to allow for the reality of this situation? to accept the reality of the situation. After all, it's already happened. Denying and resisting reality is usually not helpful. And let's also look at how some of the 4 conditions of being human that are beyond our control have taken a role in this difficult situation. Looking at our own reactivity that comes from just being human. Considering the role of any personality traits that you inherited from parents and other family members. What role have they played in this difficult situation and how you're dealing with it? And what are some of your own personal life experiences, difficult ones that happened when you were younger, that you weren't quite sure how to deal with, came up with the best strategy you could at the time, and maybe that's still the strategy you're using? Strategy developed when we were young is not likely to be as skillful as a strategy when we're older. And finally, what social and cultural conditioning in your life is playing a role in making this situation difficult and shaping how you are reacting to it? We're gaining understanding. We're being observers here, creating a little space for us to look at this situation with some perspective, maybe even with a little objectivity. And the final task in this practice is now in this place of being the observer, maybe a little more space, a little more perspective. What intention would you like to form for how you're going to relate to this difficult situation differently in the future? We're not trying to change the situation. We want our intention to be that we're going to relate to it differently. What might that look like? Forming an intention for how you want to show up on a daily basis with regard to this difficult situation. Engaging your inherent capacity for learning, understanding, considering possibilities, forming a new intention about how to relate to.